Thank you so much for sticking around for so long, and it's been a really long day, but I'm just going to try to end with a sort of a kind of a fun and entertaining talk. My name's Jen Looper. As it says on my badge, I'm a GDE who's crazy about mobile apps. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to make your apps a little bit more human today, how to bring a little machine learning into these apps, and we'll talk a little bit about Firebase, NativeScript, and Angular. So who am I? My name is Jen, and I work at Progress Software. I'm a senior developer advocate at Progress. I'm on the NativeScript team, which is the best team, as we know. So you can follow me on Twitter at Jen Looper. So how many, I can barely see, but any mobile developers out there who's developing mobile apps? 3, 4? Okay. Today I'm going to convince you that you need a mobile app. So if you're a mobile developer, sometimes you just wake up at night and you think, oh, you know, my apps, it's just a master detail. What can I do with this? This is just so stupid and boring. I can't even deal with this mobile app anymore. Well, let's fix that. And the original title of this talk was to make your apps smarter. And I decided I really don't like the term smarter because it sounds like you're going to somehow inject some kind of Frankenstein genius into your apps. That's not what this talk is actually about because there's many different kinds of intelligence, many different ways to become smarter. So when I say smarter, I mean more human. So I mean that your app needs to become more empathetic to be able to help people help themselves. So it's kind of making your app a little bit artificially intelligent. So today we're going to do a couple things. What I'm going to demo is an empathetic recipe app that I built called QuickNoms. And it's an IoT integration. It has an IoT integration, which actually blew up 5 minutes ago, and it just came back to life. So Jen is having a heart attack right now. So this IoT integration, so your app can feel and can recommend. It's going to be, I'm going to give you a couple of machine learning libraries to try. One is from Clarify, and one is from Google. So these are ways for your apps to analyze food and suggest recipes to cook. And the other one is a way for your app to analyze composed dishes. So if you're in a restaurant, you can take a picture and take a look at what the ingredients might be. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about. Now the tools that I used to build this app, it's also a website. It's a website and a mobile app, and I used Angular, of course. We're all here to talk about Angular. And I used Firebase. We just had an unbelievable live coding demo of Firebase. That was really fantastic. I also used NativeScript, of course. This is my kind of firepower of choice when I'm building a mobile app. We have a NativeScript engineer who's checking his iPhone in the front row. So if you have any questions, talk to him about NativeScript. But let's just talk a little bit about what NativeScript actually is. So, anybody tried NativeScript recently? Oh, that's awesome. Fantastic. Well, NativeScript is an open source framework for building truly native mobile apps with JavaScript. And you're going to use your web skills like TypeScript, Angular, and CSS. And you're going to get native UI and native performance on iOS and Android. So these are a lot of terms, and I'd like to kind of unpack some of those terms today in this talk. So in my opinion, NativeScript is the best tool for cross-platform native app development. And you know, this is the kind of thing you're going to get pushback on because a lot of people, you know, think their platforms are the thing, and that's totally cool. You know, you use the tool that you like, and you use something that works for your project. But for a lot of projects, NativeScript might be a really fun and awesome choice to try. And one of the reasons is that it offers rich, animated, no-compromise native UI. And I encourage you to go to the App Store and download an app called Examples NativeScript, and you can kind of feel how some of the charting feels, and you know, the kind of native animations, and how it's just a kind of speedy, fast, and attractive app experience. And the other thing that NativeScript and Angular together bring to the table is that it has a shared code story. So I was just talking to a gentleman who was looking to build a mobile app, but also build for the web. Well, Angular 2 allows us, 2 and up allows us to do that, as does Vue.js. So we have a lot of options if you want to have a nice code sharing story. So this is pretty exciting. And I think coming down the pike, and I'm hopefully not going to step on anyone with this, but we're looking for integration with the Angular CLI as well. So this is coming up soon. So basically, if you know JavaScript, you know NativeScript. A lot of folks that I talk to at the booth think that because I say NativeScript, they're going to have to learn yet another language. That's not actually the case. So you're going to use JavaScript, you're going to use CSS3, NPM packages that you like and enjoy, like Moment.js, this sort of thing. You can bring it right in. Angular 2 and up. If you like Sass for CSS, you can use Sass. You can use our friend Webpack. You're going to need Webpack, actually, for your mobile app to get the load time down. You can use TypeScript or not. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And you can use, if you choose not to use Angular, you can try our new integration with Vue. This is a community effort that is being spearheaded right now, and we're going to launch 1.0 very soon. So we're really excited about our Vue integration as well. Very invested in this. So I know this is trigger language for a lot of Java developers out there, but it truly is write once and run everywhere. So instead of having to write your Java code for your Android phones, your new Java IO file path, if you want to use the file module, you'd have to do that again when you wanted to do a native iOS app in this lovely Objective-C, which I always love, NS file manager, default manager, and then this lovely method, create file at path contents attributes, and pass in the path. Well, we've abstracted some of this away from you, so you can just use a NativeScript module. So you would import the file module from the, you would import file from the file system module, and then you would just call new file, and then you can leverage all of this native goodness that you're going to be wanting to use in your mobile apps. So not only write once, but write easy. And then you're going to craft the UI with XML. And this, a lot of people give me the side eyes, I have to use XML, are you serious? It's actually not that bad. I always say if I can do it, you can do it, right? So you're going to craft your front end with XML. And it's actually quite a pleasant developer experience, actually. I know it sounds very scary. But here, all we're doing is building a native switch. And with a NativeScript module switch, all you have is a couple of lines of, a couple of characters, actually, of XML, and you're able to build that mobile switch, that native switch right on your mobile device. Now, once you start building a mobile app, you're probably going to want to use plugins. So a lot of people have been building plugins in the community, like if you need a special way to manage video, or if you have some special social auth that you need to do, or you have any special functionality with like a fingerprint scanner, you're going to want to use a plugin for that, and you can develop them relatively easily. You grab packages off of Android Arsenal and find yourself a nice CocoaPod, and then you can go ahead and build a plugin for yourself. But there's about, I want to say 600 plugins available, something like this, on NPM, ready to try. And if you want to look for those, you just go to the marketplace. So you go to market.nativescript.org and take a look at the plugins that are available for you. We also have a very exciting NativeScript Community Slack channel, about 5,000 and up, probably 5,500 members at this point. It's pretty exciting, and it's a fun place. I am heavily involved in curating a friendly and inclusive community, and that's what we've created on our Slack channel. It's really a lot of fun. Good people. So let's talk about the app that I developed. Remember, we're going to talk about this empathetic recipe building app. So I want to present to you QuickNoms. This is a website and a mobile app that I developed. And the story behind QuickNoms is that I sent my oldest daughter to college. She goes to college at UBC in Vancouver. She left 2 years ago, and as she's walking out the door, I realized, oh no, I forgot to teach her how to cook. So instead of actually teaching her how to cook, I built a mobile app. So she has recipes, and at least, if she has, the premise is you have 5 ingredients, 15 minutes or more, and not too many pieces of equipment available. You could at least get something on the table. You've got, a little bit of olive oil, a couple of eggs, and a frying pan, Thank God we can get something on the table. So this is the concept. This is the ultimate student food app. In fact, I have a community member who gave me a recipe app for, it's like ramen noodles. He's from India, so he gave me this excellent Magi recipe. And it's a great student recipe. You take your Magi, you pour hot water in, and you place a book on top so it steams. So that's kind of a fun thing. So this is a web and mobile app for quick and easy recipes. Powered by Firebase, love Firebase, powered by NativeScript. And it includes a lot of the goodies that Firebase brings to the table, including including the remote config at the top here, when it says new delicious fudge recipe, I can go into the remote config in the back end of Firebase and push a little message into this block. So this is sort of like code push that you can do in production. All of the recipes are built and stored in Firebase, including the images. And the mobile app was actually inspired, the UI was inspired by an app called Forks Over Knives, which is a terrific vegetarian recipe app that I strongly recommend you try. So what you're going to do is you're going to submit your recipes on the web. So you go to QuickNoms.com, and actually, if you have any wonderful French recipes, I would love to have them, but only 5 ingredients, so very, very fast ones. So you input them on the web, and then you can view them in the web, or you can view them on your mobile device. So like I said, I use Firebase Remote Config Marquee for these kind of messages that I want to push in. That's powered by Firebase. And I also use Algolia search. Any people from Algolia here? I love Algolia. It's a great French company. They are fantastic. If you don't use them, you should. They're terrific for search. And we have a lovely plugin for Algolia that allows you to scrape your data out of Firebase and post into Algolia so that you can search within your mobile app. Very, very, very convenient. So with these enhancements, you're already able to move from a master detail mobile app to something a little more interesting. So what I thought I would do in the first place is to make my app a little bit more sensitive. So I always like to do a little hardware hacking, so I decided to plug in my Photon and make it into a temperature sensor. So I have it here. I don't know if you can see it over there, but here it is. It's a small little device, a microprocessor called a Photon, and I just built an IoT integration so that when the weather gets a little hot, you can recommend cool, refreshing recipes, and when the weather is a little cold, inside your room it's a little cold, you can offer some warm and toasty recommendations. So here's how I did it. So I took my sensor and plugged it into a breadboard and built out the device. So it's a Wi-Fi connected particle photon with a temperature sensor. This tiny little thing here is a temperature sensor. Total cost with these little wires and the tiny breadboard is about $25. If you haven't hacked with photons, they're super, super fun when they work. They're like not giving you heart attacks before your demo. And normally they work pretty well. The trick is to connect them to the proper Wi-Fi. And then you have to write a little bit of C++ code, which isn't, it's not too bad. And you can flash it up to the photon. So they're Wi-Fi connected, so you can flash over the air. So you take your code on your device, and then on your computer, and then you can flash it right on up into your photon. So here, what I have is reading this temperature sensor data coming in on the analog read from this little device here, and then it's writing up to the particle cloud. And the photon comes with a little cloud service that it allows you to access as a customer. So that's very, very helpful. So you can get this kind of data pushed into a cloud, and then you can start consuming it in Firebase. So the particle cloud looks like this, and you have to build a webhook. You can't publish straight from your Photon into Firebase. Unfortunately, you're going to need to go into the particle cloud and build a webhook to get your data into Firebase. So go ahead and you start reading and writing, and your webhook is writing into Firebase every 10 seconds. It's getting another reading from the room, and then it's going to keep updating Firebase. And Firebase is fantastic for its live syncing of data, so it works very, very well for this sort of integration. So the app is going to consume the data, and it's going to react with recipes that are tagged either appropriate for a hot room or appropriate for a cold room. So here's some Angular code that I used. So all I have to do is subscribe to, let's see, I look at my recipes services and I ask get temperature to grab the proper device ID and subscribe to the temperature data as it's coming down. And then I just parse through what came and then change the UI to accommodate the reading. Now you might be thinking this is a ridiculous idea. This is a tiny little device, and you're asking me to install a mobile app and have an IoT build out. But the point of it is that you can actually scale this kind of idea, and you could use something like the Nest API, which has a nice way to get a room temperature data and to read it in. So let's see if this thing is working. Here we go, first demo. Okay. broadcast my phone. Okay, here's QuickNoms. So here I have the temperature search. Can you see that? Temperature search, and let's see what the last room reading. The last room reading was 25 C. Now I'm going to hold my hand over the temperature sensor and see if it'll heat up in 10 seconds. So let's see if it'll go up. 26. So it goes up. So now I can go ahead and find some nice recipes because it seems a little warm in here. So maybe you would want, you know, Brussels sprouts? I don't know. Anyway, okay, so that's exciting. Okay, so that's one way you could make your app a little bit more empathetic. Let me just go up here. Okay, now we get to the meat of the talk with 10 minutes to go. I want to talk about machine learning. Machine learning is very, very exciting and new. I have no idea how to say this in French. Can someone tell me? What is machine learning in French? Really? I have to go to Quebec. I gave a talk on beacons, and they told me that I should use balise. And I came here to France and gave the same talk in Paris Web. They had no idea what I was talking about. So anyway, we do our best. We do our best. Well, anyway, so machine learning is really a great partner with your mobile app because think of all the data that we're constantly giving into these mobile apps, you know, all of our movements, because we basically have this thing attached to your body, right? Taking photos, taking video, it's analyzing audio if you give it permissions to. It's a pretty great platform for giving a lot of data to a machine, which is basically what machine learning is all about. Now, as we know, machine learning is very, very easy to do. Not. If you've taken the rather dreadful Coursera course by Andrew Ng, it's quite a nightmare to get through it. I encourage you to try if you're at all interested in machine learning on Coursera, but if you don't want to go through the Coursera course, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. They're so cute. So, well, what even is machine learning? So what it is a way to give computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. And a better definition is by Tom Mitchell from '97. A computer program is said to learn from experience E with respect to some class of tasks T and performance measure P if its performance at tasks T as measured by P improves with experience E. So even remember when Apple said if you can't explain something simply, that means you don't understand it? So here we go. So that's why I just underlined in red the word improve. What you want is to feed a lot of data into an algorithm, and the algorithm gets progressively better and better and better. You'll watch the learning curve go from like this, and then it'll start to plateau. So you're basically teaching the computer to get a little bit better at looking at something or understanding something. Now, if that sounds a little bit scary, here is a step-by-step way of how to make a machine learn. It's the most basic way, which is supervised learning. So what you're going to do is gather a lot of data, gather images and sounds. Again, mobile devices are great for this. You divide that data into a training set and a test set. The training set is categorized as sorted by hand or by machine, right? And then the test set is uncategorized. And you're going to use that algorithm, and it's your responsibility to make sure this algorithm is good, so you're going to tweak it and tweak it. You're going to train that model with a training set by pairing input with expected output, and use the test set to test the accuracy of the training. Rinse and repeat until it gets better and better and better and plateaus. I'm going to, okay. So, machine learning in the wild. I think a lot of us, our lives are being touched right now by machine learning, and we may not even realize it. But my favorite use of machine learning is actually Stitchsix, which is in the US, it's one of these box delivery services of clothing styles. Stephanie, are you a Stitch Fixer? No? All right, I'm going to convince you. So what it does is it combines machine learning with human curation to get your personal style. My personal stylist is Rebecca, and I'm pretty sure she's a human, not a machine. But basically, it uses formulas to pick out clothes based on the input that you give it and the pictures that you send it. It pairs you with a stylist, finds a warehouse close to you, and then it kind of skims the web to look at what styles are fashionable so that it can suggest. So it's skimming the web to create a recommendation engine. So that's really fun. The end result being Fabulosity. You can walk down and just wow everyone. So good machine learning, probably because it's opt-in and it's done with a large dosage of human curation. So I really like that. There's also some scary uses of machine learning out there. I don't know if you've seen this image that was circulating on Twitter a couple months ago, but it's a street in China, and it has the people basically identified without their knowledge. You see they have numbers. So what's going on in some countries is that a lot of surveillance cameras are being installed, and that's enabling so much data to flow in that these machines are getting really good at facial recognition. So they're able to match faces to IDs, monitor emotions, manipulate them, track your location. I'm so not 100% down with that. I think that's a catastrophe. So I think that there are some good and bad examples. I'm going to skip this slide, but I just want to let you remember that with great power comes great responsibility. So that's the overview of machine learning. Now let's talk about the fact that machine learning is hard. These algorithms are hard to tweak on your own. You need a lot of firepower. You should see this thing when TensorFlow starts going. It's like you can heat your room with this machine. You need a lot of skills. So why don't you go ahead and use a third party with pre-trained models, like something that Clarify or the Google Cloud Platform offers. So Clarify are specialists in image analysis. They've won a lot of prizes for how well they're able to take images and analyze them. They're really, really good at it. And they not only have a fantastic API that you can use in your apps, but they offer pre-trained models, so you don't even have to train your own stuff. So I was so happy. I went to Clarify and I found a food model, so it's kind of perfect for what I needed. So I thought, okay, for my mobile app, why don't I just check whether, if I'm in a restaurant and I'm looking at a plate of food, you know, it looks so delicious and it tasted so great, maybe I could create this at home as a QuickNom. So let's see if we can take a picture, identify what's in it, and classify it as a QuickNom or not. Let's see if we can do this. You know, this mapo tofu over here was probably not a QuickNom. There's a lot of processing going on in there, but a fruit salad might be, right? So I went ahead and started leveraging the Clarify API. So just taking a picture, saving it at 300 by 300 aspect ratio, and then using a REST API call to, you know, easy as pie. Just send it over to the Clarify service, and then they're going to give me their analysis of this. So what they do is they return a bunch of tags with a certain level of certainty, and I created a little algorithm, like a mini algorithm, saying, okay, if there are between 4 and 8 discernible ingredients in this dish, then that probably qualifies as a QuickNom. All right, demo time. So, are we still connected? Yeah. Okay, back to QuickNoms. So I'm going to go and use this piece. Okay, let's take a picture of a composed dish. Sorry, we lost it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use this photo and see if it'll give me some tags. Am I off Wi-Fi? There it is. Whew. So, as expected, it does not have the qualifications of a QuickNom because it thinks that there's beef, chicken, pork, garlic, lamb, spinach, parsley, salt, everything under the sun. Not very certain what's going on here. There's only so few pieces here that it can tell. This is coming back from the Clarify API. Let's try something else. Let's try a nice fruit salad. Okay. QuickNom or not. Sorry, I have to toggle windows. Okay, let's send this over to Clarify. All the way to New York City and back. Yes, it might qualify as a QuickNom because it's a salad, mint, watermelon, fruit salad, strawberry melon. It kind of can see the ingredients, so it knows. So you'll never be lost in a restaurant again because you know. I've got you covered with this app. And La Fourchette is coming through. Yay. Okay. Oh, I was going to take a picture of beef burgundy, but we'll move on. Funny story of what happened in Bulgaria. I'll tell you afterwards. Okay, so Another API that you can use is Google's Cloud Vision API. I don't know why I have trouble saying that. Google Cloud Vision API. So what it does is it matches images with recipes in my app. So Google Cloud Platform, you can do it all. They don't really give you the pre-trained models like Clarifai does. Clarifai is a little bit more hand-holding. Google Vision API, because they've been consuming all of these images that we've been feeding it for so long, it's gotten very, very good at label detection. It can tell explicit content, logos, landmarks, face detection, web detection. Okay, take a picture. Send it to Google. It's basically the same call. So you just send it to Google, and then they're going to give you, I'm going to use their label detection module, and I'm just asking for the first result. And then I'm going to use my Algolia search to grab the recipe that corresponds. So here's the demo. And I think I'm going to skip this last bit. Okay. Ingredient search. All right. I have here an apple. This is exciting. All right. Produce. So it's very interesting because it didn't recognize when the apple was this way. It wasn't sure what to give me back. But I'll bet you, if we turn it this way, because it's been trained on this little dimple, I know from sad experience. Let's see if it'll understand what it's looking at. Aha. So there we go. So interesting kind of ways that people are training on fruits. Do I have time to try another one? Okay. I have a really sad looking banana. It looked better this morning. Banana split. So, okay. I wanted to talk a little bit more about what's going on device. Do I have the time to do that? I'll blast through it really quick. Okay, so machine learning you can call APIs if you want to, but as you can see, there's a time lag. I have to call this service and data has to come back to me. But what if you could train models on device? And then you would be able to analyze things that are going on around it. So this is coming. This is coming soon. So DIY machine learning on device. If you don't want to make a bunch of REST APIs calls, which also starts costing money if you do a bunch of them. Core ML has come out for iOS. This is a little bit of an older phone, so it doesn't have it. But TensorFlow, Google's TensorFlow, is the most exciting thing since sliced bread, in my opinion. So. TensorFlow Mobile came out, and it supports low-end Androids and works for iOS and Android as well. And then there's this new module of TensorFlow Light. So what it's doing is basically you've got TensorFlow locally, and you're training your models, and then you compress them down for TensorFlow Light, put them on your device, and then you can go ahead and use machine learning, use the capabilities of your device to manage machine learning locally. It's a small footprint, and this is all kind of in process, but I just want to show you a demo of how this works and how fast it is. If I can find my emulator. So this is an app that's using the TensorFlow Mobile CocoaPod, and it's so new that it does not even have an icon, but it's been trained on some kind of office. So it thinks I'm in a home theater. Can you see? Yeah, stage. So you can see how fast this is. So there's no, there's no sending and asking for labels to come back. There's a model that's, being analyzed by the CocoaPod. So let's see. Oh, it's a prison. It's so bright. And, oh yeah, let's see if I can get people. See, it's been trained I think it's been trained in the Google offices, and it doesn't really recognize people. So it took the easy route, but it did train on some animals, and it thinks that my black and white cat is a French bulldog. So she was not very impressed by that. But anyway, so this is this kind of like really speedy experience for your users that you can start using as soon as we can get TensorFlow Mobile working, and the CocoaPod needs to get down a little bit in size. But there is a lot of exciting things coming ahead. So I just want you to keep this on your radar screen as something that you can use in the future. So thank you so much. I hope that you learned a little something. Thanks for coming to NG Europe. Merci.